everyone, welcome back to another video. I thought it was about time I kind of introduced myself a little bit better. I've kind of just started randomly uploading to YouTube and not really given any context to who I am. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a 2012 like get to know me kind of video. I've got some questions prepared. They're very basic and vague sort of questions, but it's just a little bit about me. And in the future, if anyone has any more questions, then maybe I'll do something a little bit more personal. I am going to answer these questions while I'm getting ready. So let's get on with it. So I've got my questions here on my laptop because obviously I'm filming on my phone. So sorry about that. If I'm peering over here, that's why. So starting off, my full name is Bella Brandes, but that doesn't really flow on socials, so I go by Bella Jasmine. Jasmine is my middle name. Real first question is, where am I from? So I am from Western Australia and I'm located around the Perth region. I don't actually live in Perth, in the city, but for safety purposes, I'm not going to disclose my actual location. But I live in a small coastal town outside of Perth. So yeah, I've kind of touched on it in previous videos. Very small town, coastal town, but I live in the country. So pretty cool, I guess. The second question is, do I have any siblings? The answer to that is no. It's a boring answer, I know. I really wanted siblings when I was a kid. I hated being an only child. I thought it was the worst thing in the world. I really wanted like a little brother or a little sister. Have to say though, now that I'm older, I'm so glad that I don't. It's so much better being an only child. You talk to anybody that has siblings when they were kids or teenagers or whatever and they're like, yeah, get rid of them. So now that I'm older, I do appreciate being an only child a lot more. But when I was younger, if you had have asked me if I wanted siblings, the answer 100% would have been yes. The next question is, did I go to school? And the answer to that is yes. I have actually moved schools quite a lot, to be honest, and I won't really go into why, but obviously, well not obviously, but I used to live in Perth, so when I was younger I went to a primary school down there, and then when we moved to where I live now, I went to a primary school here, and then because I live again in the country, there's actually no high school where I live, so I had to travel on a bus for like an hour and 15 minutes one way and then back in the afternoon as well to a different little town to go to high school. And I went there to that high school for a year, but being a country town, it was just not a good school. It was full of kids that weren't wanting to learn, and I just felt like I was kind of being held back a bit, and my parents felt the same. So they enrolled me into a private school, still not in my local area. I still had to travel on a bus for even longer, to be honest. It was like an hour and a half each way, but it was down in like the metropolitan area, so I was like traveling down to Perth to go to school every day. And I went there up until year 11, and then I left for personal reasons, and then I did year 12 for a year homeschooling with a company that homeschools in Perth. So that was pretty cool. I got to know a lot of interesting people through that, because a lot of famous people and even just people doing different things at that period in their life do homeschooling. Like I met a girl that was in the circus full time. She'd been in it her entire life. She was literally a circus performer, and she still is. So that was pretty cool. And lots of Olympians also studied there. they were training so much that they had to obviously do homeschooling because they didn't have time to go to school. And even like musicians and stuff, they also studied there. So met a lot of cool people through that, which was fun. And I did ATAR, which in Australia is like, it can get you into university or college depending on what country you're in. But yeah, I did that pathway, failed it. But that's okay, you don't need ATAR to do things in life, so it didn't really matter. I was a bit bummed about it, but I also didn't try my best. It was a bit of a spur of the moment thing to go into homeschooling, and it's very self-motivated work, so I wasn't very self-motivated for school. But anyway, yeah, that's what I did for high school. And then I did go on to study in TAFE. I did a diploma of screen and media, which is basically just a fancy way of saying I studied specialist makeup, special effects makeup, and I specialised from just like glam ball makeup to be able to work on movie sets and stuff like that. Still yet to do anything with that because COVID really put a spanner in the works. So we're getting there. Along the same lines of schooling, another question is, what was my favourite subject? And I really loved art. I'd have to say that that was my favourite subject, I guess. I hated school in general. I just wasn't somebody that enjoyed school very much. But I was really good at art and I enjoyed it. It's just a fun subject, pretty relaxing. And I did actually do ATAR art as well, which I really enjoyed too. So I like art. That would have been my favourite, I'd have to say. Another question that I have is, what is a bad habit of mine? And to be honest, like, everyone has bad habits, whether they're big or small. But I reckon mine, if we're getting deep, would have to be like overthinking. And I don't mean in the sense of like, it doesn't necessarily even have to be bad situations, but like I just, in any situation in life, I think about every possible scenario that could happen, like every possible outcome. And I feel like that not only does it waste my time, but it also probably stops me from doing some things because I'm like, what if this happens? So I've kind of tried to be a lot more conscious of that because it really ruins things, to be honest. And I mean, like, even in the slightest forms, like I said, it doesn't even have to be overthinking about big things. It's just small. But that's probably not my best habit. And I can't really think of any others off the top of my head, so yeah, that'll have to be my answer for that one. Sorry if that's a boring one, but it's true. My next question is, what is a hobby of mine? And to be totally honest, I don't have like regular hobbies, I guess. I kind of move between things. Sometimes I'm enjoying it, sometimes I'm bored of it, but the things that are kind of slightly consistent are, I love to skate. Oh, you can't see it. I've got all my skateboards like lined up here. You can only see my ripstick, but I guess that comes under it. But yeah, I really enjoy skating. I recently, and by recently I mean last Christmas, but anyway, got a surf skate, which is a type of skateboard, and it's so much fun to ride. Like, it's so cool. For anybody that like enjoys surfing as well as skating, best purchase you could ever make. It's so much fun. And I love drawing. Like I said, I enjoyed art in school, so drawing, painting, I guess, but I prefer drawing. I do like, I'm kind of developing a bit of a style for my drawing, so I'm kind of getting into it a bit more. And I obviously YouTube now. I'm just editing back this video and that bit literally cracked me up.
I obviously YouTube now. It wasn't the way, I didn't say it like that. Like, that's not what I meant, but it just sounded so funny. Like, I obviously YouTube now. Like, I was meant to say I obviously am doing YouTube now, and obviously I do YouTube now. Like, it just, I smushed two sentences together and it just sounded really funny. So just wanted to pop that in there.
I love to create and edit videos, specifically for YouTube, because I just feel like it's very personal. But yeah, I like making reels and stuff, editing photos. I like modeling too. I don't do anything like amazing, but I work with a couple of brands sometimes, just take some photos, some content for their socials, so that is fun as well. I really like doing that. I'm a little bit vain. I love to have my photo taken, but not in like a look at me kind of way. I just like to create different things. And my boyfriend's also a photographer, so that's a plus. I also like to macrame. I don't know how you say it. I've, again, touched on this in my previous videos, but yeah, I've started doing that too. I like to make little keychains, and I'd like to kind of broaden my skills with macrame, and steer away from keychains and make some cooler things, even like wall hangings and stuff. That'd be really cool. And I'd also like to get into crocheting, because you've probably seen her on TikTok, but Cass Adventures, she's a girl that's kind of like around my age, and she travels around in her van. That's irrelevant, but she always posts on her socials she crochets, and she makes all these cute little things that she can hang in, that people can hang in their cars and stuff. She makes them for her friends and for herself, and I love it. I think it's so cute. So I'd like to learn to crochet and start making some little things like that too. I found a couple of extra questions to kind of throw in there. They're a little bit whack because they're from the internet, but I feel like they'd just be funny to kind of answer. And also, I feel like it'd kind of be interesting, I guess. I don't know. But one of them is, what did you want to be when you were a child versus what you want to do now? So when I was a kid, I really wanted to be a pediatrician, which is like, for those who don't know, it's basically like a doctor for babies and kids. I so wanted to do that as a kid, which is crazy because I actually ended up working in the medical industry for a little bit, only as a medical receptionist, nothing special, but I worked with doctors and everything, and once I'd worked there, totally put me off it. Like, I just didn't want to do it, and I didn't even go there. I'd grown out of my wanting to be a pediatrician phase, so I didn't go and work there because I wanted to go into that field of work. It's just where I happened to get a job, and working there just even made me realize even more how much I didn't want to do it. Like, I was like, there's no way I want to work in this field. So that's an interesting one for you. If you think you want to do it, get a job in the field and then decide. And versus what I want to do now, honestly, I feel like I'm just in limbo. I have no idea what I want to do now. I'm currently not working, which also sucks, but that's a totally different story. But ultimately I'd love to work for myself. Everyone would, but that is mainly what I want to do. I also would possibly like to go to university and study a Bachelor of Criminology, Psychology and Justice, which would get me kind of into the crime field. Like, I'm very into all of that. I like to watch true crime documentaries. I've always had a bit of an interest in that field, so yeah, I'd like to do something like that. I love Criminal Minds. Being like a behavioural analyst would be so cool. So yeah, something like that, I guess, I think. And then I'm just gonna make this the last question because I feel like I've rambled enough about me, because nobody actually is really interested, I don't think, but I don't have any more questions to answer anyway, so this is the last one. I try so hard not to make a mascara face. The last question is, what is an interesting fact about me? And to be totally honest, maybe I'll give you a really dumb one. It's not very fun, but an interesting fact about me is I have 4 tattoos, and I did 3 of them myself. No, I actually have 5 tattoos, and I did 4 of them myself. Yeah, 4 of them myself. So that's a fun fact for you, I guess. And they're actually like very well done, if I do say so myself. They look pretty decent. So yeah, I did them with like a little stick and poke kit. I don't encourage anybody to do it though. This isn't me saying that you should go and do your own tattoos, because it's not easy, it can be dangerous, and you should always go to a professional. So I'm gonna end the video here because, like I said, I've run out of questions, and if there's no more questions, then that's just the end of the video, isn't it? Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's a little bit different. I thought it might be a little bit of an icebreaker rather than me just posting random vlogs and videos out of nowhere. But yeah, I hope it was interesting. I hope you learnt a little bit about me and, you know, make it a little bit more personal. And if you have any questions in the future, I don't know, flick me a message or a DM or leave a comment, and I can maybe do one of these again with some different questions if anybody's interested. And yeah, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Like I said, leave a comment and make sure you subscribe for more content. A little bit of everything going on here, to be honest. Thank you for watching. See ya!